Good morning and welcome to the June 17th Policy Committee meeting. All of our members are present. May I get a approval of the agenda?
So moved.
Second.
In favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Right. Thank you so much. Can I also get an approval of our open session minutes?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Thank you so much. At this time, we will have policies for second review, and we will go through all of them, and then we will vote as a board, as a committee, excuse me.
Good morning. Thank you. I'm going to take the first three of these together. Policy 3-02E licensure, 3-06 staff student relations, and 4-08 child abuse and related threats to children together. If you remember, the revisions are all the same in all three policies, and they are to align with revisions to a state board policy. These policies were reviewed by this committee in May, by the board in June. There's been no stakeholder input since that time, and staff would request that these go for approval at the July meeting. Okay, if there's no questions, I will move on to policy 7-07, use of facilities equipment. This policy was also reviewed by the committee in May and the board by June. The board in June. There was no stakeholder input since that time, and staff would request that this go for approval at the July meeting. If you remember, the changes to this policy are to address the online portal that we now use for reservations for the use of facilities and to provide some clarification on the process and the procedures. And that is all of the policies for second review.
We have any questions from the committee members? All right, can I get a motion to take it to the full board?
So moved.
Second.
All in favor by the sign of aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, policies for first review.
Okay, we have two policies for first review today. One is policy 8-02, insurance for student transportation. The revision to this policy is being recommended to address a requirement that the district or schools provide liability insurance when renting or leasing vehicles, not just when we actually own a vehicle. And staff is requesting that this go to the board for review at the July meeting. Are there any questions on those revisions?
No.
Okay, hearing none, I'll move on to 8-04, operation of school nutrition services. Okay, there are two different kind of types of revisions to this policy. The first revision, it removes a parenthetical definition of sex, and that parenthetical was put in there after a 2022 USDA memo was introduced. That memo has been removed and is presumably rescinded under the new administration. And so that part is being struck. And then there is, we are also proposing changes to the meal charges section to address the increasing amount of school lunch debt we are having and that the district has to reimburse school nutrition services for on an annual basis. Mr. Moore is here, and I don't know, Dr. Tyson and Ms. McLam, we're going to try and join in as well to help answer questions. The issue is that the district is having to reimburse school nutrition every year, and I think, Mr. Moore, correct me if I'm wrong, last year it was in the neighborhood of $300,000 that had to be reimbursed to school nutrition, and Shauna equated that to approximately the value of 5 teachers that we could have employed had we not had to reimburse for that debt. Is that correct, Mr. Moore?
That's correct. Well, last year I think it was a little bit more than 400,000, but right now we're at 300,000. We've been able to reduce it some this year, so it's about $300,000 right now.
Okay. So this is an ongoing issue that we're having, and this is not children who are in our CEP schools, our community, oh, I forget what that stands for.
Eligibility program.
Thank you, Dr. Houlihan, the community eligibility program, because those children receive, the entire school receives free breakfast and lunch. It also, this is not an issue for our free and reduced lunch students. These are students who are either have not applied for free and reduced lunch or are ineligible for free and reduced lunch and are purchasing a lunch but having no money in their accounts to pay for that lunch. And the debt is ongoing. We have met with the school nutrition leadership and a group of principals about these proposed revision. There was universal support from the principals about these revisions. I've also spoken with the board chairman and the policy committee chair about these revisions. And so staff is requesting that this go to the board for review at the July meeting.
Attorney Marsh, I have a question.
Sure.
And I thought about it last evening. I know other districts may have similar challenges, possibly with debt, with the nutrition program. How would they, have we had conversations on how they are addressing those challenges?
The people that I've spoken with, and I think Mr. Moore has spoken to some as well, they don't have the challenge to the extent that we do. And part of the problem is that we continue to provide the regular lunch as they go through the line, and even if they can't pay. Many districts use the alternative meal, and so that tends to dissuade people from continuing to charge and not pay. And we have tried some other mechanisms to, you can't purchase a parking pass if you don't have your lunch debt paid, some of those kinds of things. But it's really more effective in the high school than it is in elementary and middle. And so this was a way to put back in. We used to have the alternate meal, and we didn't have the level of lunch debt that we have now since we took that out. So this is an attempt to try and address that. Mr. Moore, is that correct that most districts don't seem to have it to the extent that we do?
That's correct. The districts that I've talked to have some have debts of probably $40,000 to $50,000, but not to the extent of we do of $300,000 to $400,000.
Do we have any other questions or comments? Okay, so the suggestion is to take this to, well, this is for first review, so gotcha.
Yeah, take both of these to the July meeting for first review.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, can I get a motion?
So moved.
Second. All in favor by the sign of aye? All right. Okay, thank you, Attorney Morris. Thank you, Mr. Moore and the staff for working so diligently on these policies and bringing them to us. Our next meeting will be August the 19th, 2025 at 8 o'clock, and it will be virtual as usual. And may I get a motion to adjourn?
So moved. Oh, second.
All right, all in favor by the sign of aye?